She always believed she would retire at the organization that she started her career with. And yet this Indonesian journalist found herself feeling disillusioned after 20 years in the field. She began asking some tough questions and found herself pushed to lead and co-founded a media organization during the pandemic. Hello and welcome to Season 4 of the Womenpreneur Asia podcast, and I'm your host, Krista Good. I'm also an entrepreneur, author, marketer, storyteller, and connector. Each season, I curate stories and journeys of Asian women entrepreneurs from India to Japan who are open enough to talk about their businesses and life stories. These are real conversations with everyday women in business across Asia. This episode is brought to you by my company, Redbox Studio. Today's episode is with Evi Mariani, co-founder and executive director of Project Multatuli. Evi was the former managing director at the Jakarta Post. Her collaborative projects won the 2020 Public Service Journalism Award from the Society of Publishers in Asia and the 2020 Tasrif Award from the AJI or AJI. Evi and 3 other fellow journalists started Project Multatuli, a media organization dedicated to carrying out the ideals of public journalism by giving a voice to the voiceless, spotlighting the marginalized, and reporting on the underreported. Multatuli comes from the Latin phrase meaning, I have suffered much. In this episode, we talk about how crisis led Evi to start something that truly spoke to her heart, social justice. She said that she was never raised to be political. All she wanted was to travel and see the world as a journalist. As an Indonesian Chinese with a Catholic upbringing, social journalism wasn't the path she was supposed to take. However, her first taste of political activism began in earnest when she entered the Gajah Mada University, which opened her eyes to diversity, pluralism, gender equality, and so much more. Evi started her media organization during the pandemic, which also pushed her to return to her Chinese business roots, so to speak. She had to figure out the best model for her media business because she didn't care much for the advertising model that most media defaulted to. As the only woman among the 4 founders of Project Multatuli, she is known as Ibu Dir. Evi is a woman who calls herself an underachiever, but today she is the one who is pushing for greater change through the medium she knows best. Today's conversation is a little deeper and more thoughtful, but I know that Evi and Project Multatuli are exactly what we need to change the game. Onwards to the interview. Welcome to Womenpreneur Asia, Evi.
Hi, Krista. Nice to be here and talk to you.
So, Evi, where are you physically located?
I am in outskirts of southwest Jakarta, not exactly in Jakarta, about maybe 40 kilometers from Jakarta, called a small town called South Tangerang. But yeah, usually people just refer to it as Greater Jakarta.
I see. And Evi, before we get into your business, tell us about yourself and who is Evi?
Okay, I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist for maybe 20 years. And most of my time as a journalist, I work for the largest English media in Indonesia. It's called the Jakarta Post. And my passion is journalism. The pandemic in 2020 and 2021 hit the media industry globally, I think, including in Indonesia, really hard. And I have to resign from my workplace at the Post and in early 2021. But still, a lot of my journalist friends had to make a hard choice to leave journalism, like going into PR or strategic communications company. And then I decided to start a new media outlet. It's called Project Multatuli. You can come to projectmultatuli.org. And since then, I kind of like risk my stable income, right, in 2021. And my husband is, I had been the breadwinner because my husband is a performing artist. And sometimes when he has like big job, he has some income, but sometimes not. So it's kind of like ups and downs. So it was it was a difficult decision for both of us to make. And in January 2021, when I decided, okay, I was going to leave this salaried monthly kind of stable income to start a new venture. That wasn't kind of uncertain whether it will be a success or not. So yeah, that's I think to start the conversation. So I made this it's kind of reckless, maybe brave decision at the time. My husband was like, okay. So he said, okay, we'll just take this path together and let's see. So he takes some acting jobs.
While you are starting your business.
Yes, he takes some acting jobs. Otherwise, he would probably think twice to take. But one of them, he gets nominated for the highest award for film, like Indonesian version of Oscar for supporting actors. So I was like, okay, it was a good decision anyway.
So there was something good out of it. So before we get into talking about Project Multatuli, what were you most passionate about when you were younger? Was it always writing and journalism and doing communication?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was like kind of like a late bloomer, probably. I was not really an ambitious person. I'm kind of like actually an underachiever a little bit up until I was like early 2000 when I took a master degree. I got a scholarship from the Dutch government, and I took a 1-year master degree in Amsterdam, in University of Amsterdam in UvA. I was like 29 years old at the time, and my classmates, they're like the oldest among them, 25 years old, and they gobble textbooks like they eat candies. And I was struggling so much at the time because I already worked for I think about 4 or 5 years at that time. So I already like kind of like well, I didn't like textbooks anyway so much when I was an undergrad student. Yeah, so I was struggling and almost didn't make it because I was like, oh God, I'm in Europe for a year. I have to like travel, right? I have to have fun. So.
You have to enjoy it, right? While you're there, while you're still doing your masters.
Yeah. So my my thesis. Professor, she was like, okay, I almost gave you a failure because you like instead of doing your thesis you went to Budapest and whatever. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. So when I almost graduated from high school, I was looking for university to go, and I was thinking, what should I do? And then I was thinking, okay, my family is a middle class family. Yeah? So until I've never went on to aboard an airplane. Yeah, the first time I did that was in 1999 when I was 23 years old. Yeah. So for me, traveling is a luxury. Was a luxury, yeah, for my younger self. So I was thinking, okay, what kind of job where you can travel around the world without paying out of your own pocket? Yeah, my high school is a Catholic high school in Bandung, West Java. I'm Chinese Indonesian as well, but more of middle to lower income family. But my classmates, my high school friends, they're all almost like creme de la creme of Bandung City. They go to Europe, they go to the US, they go to Australia, like very easy for them. So I kind of like maybe a little bit jealous of them, and I knew that I cannot afford to do that myself. Like my family cannot afford that. So I was like, okay, if there's a job that will send me to foreign countries, but someone else paying for me, what kind of jobs? And I was like thinking, journalism.
That is so interesting. I mean, you're saying, as you're talking about it, I think that's so interesting. At that age, you were thinking, what are my career options plus things that I like to do, right? Because it's like it comes as a combination because you wanted the best of both worlds, the travel and something that you could do as a career.
Yeah. So the decision was like really like kind of childish and not really, I want to be like change the world or whatever. Not at all. I just want to travel around the world. Someone else paying me. And I was like, okay, journalism. So I applied to State University, one of the oldest. It's Gajah Mada University in Jogja. So I chose communication, and and then I took classes about journalism and press, and then I also involved in the student press. So I entered university in 1994, and it was during Suharto time, and the 1998 student movement was kind of ripe at that time when I entered the university. So I'm Chinese Indonesian, not raised to be political at all. We are told by family, by school friends, and all the Chinese Indonesians should stay away from politics. So I entered the communication is like political and social and political school in UGM in Gajah Mada. And I was like kind of like sort of like one among 100 maybe in social political school, because Chinese Indonesian usually will I don't know about in Malaysia, but in Indonesia, because politics is like a big no for Chinese Indonesians. So usually engineering school or economy or something not political, but
something very safe, right? Something that's very safe, something that you can make money with or have at least a better life.
But my parents kind of like they kind of like cool, My mother at the time was like, she was praying a lot for me to not get admitted to that state university and instead get admitted to get accepted at this Catholic university in my hometown for accountancy. So
which was very safe, right?
Exactly. I would have been rich,
an accountant,
richer maybe by now. But yeah, darn, I chose journalism and economically it's not very very rewarding job.
So it means that when you went into university, and of course you got into the university that you wanted to get into, were you happy? Were you excited?
Oh, it was for me. I called my university years, which was 7 years undergrad. Kind of ashamed.
Why? Because you enjoyed a lot of the stuff on campus.
It's a long story. 7 years. It took me 7 years to finish undergrad. Yeah. So the first time I stepped in Yogyakarta, that's like I was from the day I was born in 1976 until 1994. I never left Bandung. Yeah, I sometimes went to Jakarta, the capital, because my relatives are there, but only for a week or 3 days or whatever. So Jogja is like for my father and for my mom and dad was like too far for me. But my father supported me a lot. My mom was she's kind of like, oh God, my I was like the first I'm the third child, but the first daughter, like the oldest daughter. So for her it's like it's not easy for her. Chinese Indonesian, in a school where there's no Chinese Indonesian at all, entering something called politics. And she was kind of like, but in the end, she supported me a lot too. So the first moment I get off the train, step on Jogja, I was like, oh God, this is so my place. And I spent seven again formative years. I call it formative because from kindergarten to university to high school, it was all Catholic school. I grew up Catholic. This time, state university, you meet with. I was like kind of like in a kind of experience that like, wow, why didn't I know about this? Wow, why didn't I know about this and that? Names, I don't know. Uh, I learned that there was this actually a political activist from 1966 generation, a Chinese Indonesian named Suhokji, later very popular because they made him into a movie or whatever. In 1994, I have to admit that I have never heard his name at all, even though he's Chinese Indonesian. And my friend was like, "But you're Chinese Indonesian. How come you didn't know Suhokji? We're Japanese. We know Suhokji." I was like, "Okay." They read books I didn't read. So it was an eye opening for diversity, pluralism, whatever, and because of Catholic school, Muslims in from kindergarten to my high school is the minority, right? But now I become the minority, and I meet with people from across Indonesia. So it's something very precious to me, the experience.
So you enjoyed your campus life.
Oh yes, very much. That's why I spent 7 years.
Right. After that, you came out. I'm graduated and came out to work as a journalist. Was it straight into Jakarta Post?
So I sent out, I don't know, 50 maybe job applications to any media outlets in Indonesia. I even tried advertising companies, also public relations. None of them called me. Uh, so I waited for 6 months. No one called me for 6 months, even though I like sent like, I don't know, so many. If you want to be journalist, you go to Jakarta. So 6 months, no one called me, and then after 6 months, one company called. It's a magazine needing translators. So I work as a translator for about maybe 6 months. So after waiting for almost a year, yeah. So they one by one, like about four called me, but and then the Post is one of the earliest, and I felt like I clicked with the interview with the spirit of the newspaper at the time, newspaper, yeah, with the newspaper, and I chose the Post.
You enjoyed your years at the Post?
Oh yes, I began working in 2002, and then it was a great experience until 2017. I resigned only for like 11 months, and then I went back. Yeah. So it was also like I became a journalist like I am right now, thanks to all the mentors, the seniors at the Post, and the safe space they gave us, the space to grow, regardless of your background. So it's a diverse workplace. It's one of the most advanced workplace in terms of gender equality in Indonesia. So I'm very lucky to have that kind of space to grow. Yeah, I know that not all women journalists out there experience that this kind of workplace. Yeah, even now, I just heard this morning. I just heard a story about a journalist who's like in a WhatsApp group with a lot of other journalists, men and women, but the men will, talk among themselves, harassing women, talking, objectifying women. Even now in 2022, yeah, that still happened, and I'm very grateful that it didn't happen to me at the post. But I didn't say that 100% of them are not sexist. It's one, two, three, sometimes sexist jokes or whatever. But it's not something. It's not very broad culture at the post. So I was very lucky, I think.
And you also won some awards.
Yes, that's because of collaboration. So for years, the post for years I've never won any awards. Yeah, and then in 2008, late 2018 to 2019, another media outlet, its name is tirto.id, initiated this collaboration. It's kind of new for journalism world. Yeah. I think the pioneers include Panama Papers. You must have heard of it. Panama Papers, Pandora Papers, Paradise Papers, and so on. And then the collaboration between newsrooms globally, nationally, become not really a trend, but something that journalists find, this is very useful to share the cost and to share the risk and to amplify the impact, right? So for at the time in the beginning there were like 4 newsrooms: BBC, Vice Indonesia, tirto.id, and the Jakarta Post collaborated to unveil the hidden crimes of sexual abuse in universities. It's really hidden at that time. It was rarely talked about, and if a victim was brave enough to report, especially if the report involved lecturer who's like accused of doing the sexual abuse, they usually don't get anywhere because
They're protected.
yes, they're protected. They're like seen as an asset, while the student was like, who's that student? What's the name? They don't really care. And also, it's even worse in state universities because they don't really have a customer service mindset. Yeah, they don't really care because even though they hurt their students, thousands will vie for seats each year in that university. So for private universities, I talked to some private university leaders. They usually are more like a little bit perceptive of the situation because there's just some kind of customer service side to their work, right?
Because technically it's like a business for them, right? For the private ones.
Yes. So
the public ones are more like, we don't care. You just come.
Yes. Well, they don't. So the private universities, of course, think about, okay, how if parents know perceive, perceive if we don't do anything, if we have professors like groping students, for example, they think about that. But public universities, they're so powerful. They're very powerful, and so that's really hidden. Victims are afraid of talking. So we try to uncover more stories, and because we were collaborating, the impact is amplified and is like the results of our collaboration is quoted by other media outlets, also by the women activists who later meet with the ministry and the education minister for several times. They use our materials, and last year the ministry issued a very groundbreaking rules for universities to provide safe space. It's something proud of. I'm very grateful that we are part of that collaboration. and so Vice Indonesia submitted that our collaboration to Society of Publishers in Asia, in SOPA, and we won in 2020 we won I think it's the highest prize. I think it's the excellence in public service journalism prize.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And not only that, I see that what you did had a great change in how public universities address sexual harassment and sexual abuse.
Yeah, two biggest universities trying to improve their situation. I have to say that they are also like not from the high up. Yeah, the initiatives usually started from the students, from lecturers who are like progressive lecturers, usually women lecturers, and also students. But students, younger ones, they're like men and women. Yeah, for students, they're like even younger men. So it started from like a grassroots movement. I think also in University of Indonesia, I know for sure, and also my alma mater Gadjah Mada University also is from the grassroots movement. Yeah. They sometimes protested and on the street and talked to journalists and make a compelling digital social media campaign for that cause. So I think the bureaucracy finally a little bit kind of like
got shaken, right? Shaken from the bottom. It's not shaken from the top.
Yeah, and they issued like
a statement, right? A statement.
Well, yeah, statements, at least even regulations. Actually, yeah, the road is still very long, but there are like some small improvements here and there. I think so. I'm really proud to be not just part of history in the making, not just as a journalist in a distance, watching those people making history, but also really take part in making new history. That's something why I love journalism.
Yeah. So now let's talk about what you're doing now, Project Multatuli. So what do you hope to do with Project Multatuli? Because I know you're one of the founders of this business, and you also have other journalists with you in this Project Multatuli. So what are your hopes and dreams, and why did you take that step into doing this?
I think Malaysian journalists will understand what I'm saying, because journalism is very linked to democracy and have freedom of expression, right? And the Jakarta Post is actually quite an independent newsroom. And then during the pandemic, it made a drastic decision. The owners made a drastic decision to cut 2/3 of the workforce, out of 150 people. Yeah, so I was not among the ones that's like on a chopping block actually, and then that time I loved the Post so much. In 2020, I was still thinking that, okay, I'm going to retire here. That's my spot, in the corner. I will probably become a mentor for CUP reporters, young journalists. In August 2020, that was like a historical moment for us. Like a lot of us like cried a lot at that time. My colleagues and I. And it was really hard to hear that the owner wants to like cut that many. Yeah? I mean, like if it's only like maybe 20% or even maybe 30%, maybe I can still, it will be hard, but not that hard. Yeah. So for me, it was like, okay, this is not my place anymore. This is not the right place for me, because the way they see the reason behind the decision to cut so many workers was because they saw us, and this is really the word they use. Yeah, they saw that the expense for salaries for human resources as a burden, and they think that 70% expenses for salaries is like too much of a burden for them, so they want to cut it to 30%. And we are not something like high technology or whatever. All of the works, like the machines, are the human beings behind it, right? So cutting it to 30%, I was like, okay, they don't appreciate our hard work. Well, during the pandemic, we actually broke a record in page views, yeah, in April 2020. During the pandemic, all of us are working from home. All of us got salary cut, but still we made it. Yeah, we made it, and they didn't appreciate that, and they instead want to cut the workforce. So I was okay. My decision was okay. I don't want to do this here anymore. And then another friend also have their own views about how journalism should work. I love journalism at the Post, but still the Jakarta Post, because it's English, yeah, because it's in English, so kind of like a little bit elitist. And although it's gender wise, it's much better than other newsrooms, but it tends to be more serving more the elites, yeah. And so I was like, okay, I also have, this is actually another long story, but I'll just give you bits of it. I'm raised middle class, and then I became a city reporter for the first years at the Post, and I came in to like have a lot of friends, my new sources among the urban poor, who's got forced evictions. So I admire the resilience. I admire how they amid all the odds that are actually against them, they're very like optimistic, and so I'm kind of like a little more into wanting to, what you call social justice, maybe we can call it, like economic inequality, social inequality. It's one of my biggest concern. But at the Post, my my kind of thinking is not really they don't really warm to it, yeah. They don't
So
really.
it's like a totally different world, right? One part of you in the Jakarta Post was doing this, right? But at the same time, you felt strongly about certain things, about the urban poor.
Yeah, so about economic inequality, about inequality, not just gender, but also social and economy. For me, it was like I told you I resigned for about 11 months. It's actually because of I had a lot of arguments with my colleagues about social justice. So it was a painful period for me. 2015, 2016 to 2017, until in 2017 I decided to I needed to take a break from all this. After 3 years of gosh, oh my god, it was not really fun for me. Yeah? I got punished once, and my promotion was cancelled once, because I kind of like have a strong standpoint about forced evictions. So so well. At one moment, it was I asked when I was told that my promotion was cancelled because they don't think I could be objective. I'm a homegrown journalist at the Post. I'm like this because of the Post, because of my mentors, because of my seniors, and I saw a lot of journalists fighting for gender equality. I saw a lot of journalists fighting for human rights here, my colleagues at the Post. The chief editor at the time was also a gender equality champion, human rights champion, and I asked him at the time, why would you call me not a journalist when I fight for the rights of poor people? And he said to me, that's a very good point. Yes, why? And he's a very I respect him a lot. But and then that was the situation at that time. So this was something I couldn't do at the Post. So when I decided to resign because of that workforce cutting and whatever, I was okay. Maybe now I can do more for the marginalized. So that's become our value proposition at the Project Multatuli. So uh, Project Multatuli is kind of like for me something I could do what I really believe in is like serving the underreported, serving the marginalized, and holding power accountable independently and with a lot of room to do that. It's something that sounds easy, but actually not. But I'm sure Malaysian journalists know that I admire Malaysia Kini a lot for what Malaysia Kini been doing. For example, it's something easy but not easy. Okay, maybe not easy. Even a democratic country like Indonesia, who claim themselves to be democratic, it's still not easy because if you complain too much, or not really complain, but if you hold power accountable, if you side with the underreported, it's not really marketable. It's not economically viable, and from the business point of view, for some people, it's also not really something that they would want their journalists to do. So I heard stories about journalists in other media outlet that's like have this story about sexual abuse being not approved by the board because they think that it will scare advertisers, for example. So if you do this with the same business model that is like investors or even oligarchs themselves that invest in your media outlet, or you use page views, or you use the business model that relies so much on algorithms, you won't make money by doing this. By like serving the underreported and holding power accountable, you won't make money. So I have to really think hard. Me and my friends, I'm not alone. The founder of Four Journalists, all of us are journalists. We think hard. Okay, let's do something else. Like let's have another business model because we have to be sustainable. We have to be able to pay our workers decently, right? I have to be able to survive.
Yeah, and you have to be able to sustain yourself while you sustain the company.
Exactly. So I'm not stupid, you know. So I have to be able to pay myself decently, right? To support my my son, right?
Yeah.
Give him good education, right? Which is expensive, right? So we have to think a new way to make money in journalism. And I learned a lot from media outlets around the world, including Malaysia Kini, get support from readers, from their readers. So that's one of the inspirations.
In this case, is that model workable for you? I mean, I know you just started, right?
It's so far it's good, although I have to admit that we still rely more on grants. But we are fully aware that we have to gradually distance ourselves from only grants. So the proportion of grants in our revenue streams have to get smaller and smaller. So we devise like three revenue streams, which is like grants. Obviously, I told you about that. And the second one is readers' revenue, which is like a big challenge in a country where readers tend to think that you get news for free. Yeah, it's a big challenge, but we have to do it. We have to do it not only for money, but we also have to I think be more engaged, listen more to our readers, to get their trust, because trust is declining. Yeah, to really be able to serve them, to serve the public, to serve the readers. So we're doing reader revenue as well, but we take a membership route. We don't use donation, or we don't use subscription, but we pick membership, in which we don't only take their money, but also give some kind of like service, like editorial meeting with members twice a month, for example. So the third revenue stream is we sell our service, because I'm thinking like, hey, we are skilled. We're very skilled in strategic communication. We're very skilled in writing English and Indonesian. We're very skilled in video making. Not myself alone, of course. I mean, me and my friends.
With your team, right? Yeah.
Yes. Filmmaking, digital campaigns, social media consultants. We have a network of those skilled people everywhere in Indonesia, and that's very powerful. That's very powerful service that we can offer to people who need our service, as long as it's in line with our mission, which is to serve the underreported and to hold power accountable. And we offer that service to any organizations that need our service. But we still like we don't call it advertising, because it's not we're not offering advertising, but that's a journalistic piece. Yeah, still a journalism product. We offer podcasts, text, photo stories, videos, and digital campaigns also, based on our good journalism, quality journalism, but more impactful journalism. So that's a kind of service that's I'm not the only one we're not the only one that offers that service. Yeah, other media organizations also offer that kind of service, but for us, it's we're really serious. Like, we have the name for that service. We call it impact service, and we have a rate card, and so that's one of the revenue streams.
But it's something that is part of what you offer, instead of just doing the reader contribution or even the grants, right? So this is another way for you to provide the value that you already have in-house.
Now I'm like the executive director, right? I'm the executive director, so every month I have to check our money and to think about like how should I pay the salary of 14 people. We now have 14 full-time staff working for us. So that's the way we also make money, but still doing good journalism, and still not still have the loyalty to our mission, right? To serve the underreported and to hold power accountable. That's it. Apparently, there are organizations that need, and they want to support us, like not pay in kind of like pay in advertising, but they realize that good journalism is costly. But also we very strict and very firm to them about our editorial independence. What we do is collaborate with a cause that we also think that will be good journalism, like will be good for our journalism. So even if the organization says, oh, so I have this very important issues I want to like about about the impact of coal mining, for example, that will be, of course, it will be also our editorial decision to look into that. Or sea slavery in fishing vessels. Yeah, that's also, of course, we would love to write about that, right? So we also kind of like picky about.
You have a list of topics that you really want to focus on, But at the same time, if these people come in and say that they also would like you to, talk about these things, you will have to make the editorial decision whether or not
Yes,
the entire organization agrees on doing that, right?
Yeah, we have the independence to decide whether we want to collaborate or not with certain organization, and we have decided that we have to be really strict about that, and really in line with that value proposition of like serving the underreported, holding the power accountable. Anything outside from that, we don't collaborate. So that's the kind of one kind of service that we're trying to improve this year. So far, we have a few collaborations already, and we would love to expand that service to, I don't know, trainings maybe.
I think there are plenty, because I think in terms of media, there are so many people out there who will benefit from learning how the media works, so that perhaps, if they want to work or collaborate with the media or even media outlets, they know exactly how the process is, and, have it more easy for them to get to know the journalists or the people in that particular media outlet. But for you, I can see that you've been a journalist and now you're a business owner.
Yeah.
How has that transition been for you?
Sometimes I joke maybe this is the Chinese Indonesian in me, but not really.
Finally, right? You're getting your business.
Not really. I don't know. Among the 4 founders, I'm the only woman and I'm the only Chinese Indonesian. But I'm not saying that it's because of my gender and my ethnicity that I take up this role. And one of the chief editor is one of our founders become the chief editor. He's also very much like have like a lot of network and open up like a lot of paths for us to sustain. Yeah. But yes, so I kind of like I was the chief editor for Project Multatuli from May to August, I think. So 3 months only. and then another founder, his name is Fahri Salam. He's also with winning the SOPA award with me. Yeah, he was his workplace is the one that is initiating the collaboration, Tirto.id. So he decided to resign from Tirto.id and he become chief editor for Project Multatuli in August. So that's the moment when I told the team, okay, finally I can focus on the business side of this organization. I can focus on making money because we have a chief editor that will really focus on editorial jobs, which is like so many things to do in editorial. So I become the director, and they like jokingly call me Ibu Dir. Ibu is like ma'am, and Dir is like the short for director. So they kind of like a little, because I was their friends, right? Because it's an egalitarian workplace, so not really senior, junior is not really big. Even though I'm the oldest among them, I'm the oldest. Oh my god! So we're more like friends, and then I become the director, and it was kind of funny a little bit for them. It's also like so I told them like this. Okay, guys. So folks, I talked to a lawyer who's a consultant for a lot of corporations, and he gave me these tricks on making employee contracts that will be beneficial for organization. I told them. So as of today, I told them in a WhatsApp group, as of today, I no longer think as a journalist, but I will think as a director. And they kind of like really recorded that statement, and I they made jokes about it because I'm so serious about, I'm a director now. So
Yeah, you're so serious about your job as a business owner and making sure that the business makes money. Because otherwise, there's no Project Multatuli, right?
yes, yes, but there is no conflict actually. It's all fun. They're all younger than me, but they really understand that that their welfare is also like in their hands. Yeah, I mean, like they have to do a good job together. Um, I'm trying very hard to make the organization Project Multatuli is a safe space to work for people regardless of the gender, regardless of the social economic background. So we want our organization to grow together. So I want to make sure that everyone feels have like a good of like a deep sense of belonging in this organization. And i'm I'm proud that I think they understand that it's theirs too. Like it's a collective effort, not just me. So they don't really like just, okay, director, you find the money and we'll spend it. Not really like that. So they work really hard to think about how to get us sustainable. Even at one point, so we're very transparent. Yeah. So I told them about the condition, the financial condition of the organization. I'm not like, they know the amount of my salary. Okay, all of us are actually still underpaid a little bit, but this is our financial situation, and I would love to increase my salary so your salary also could increase, right? Um, but this is the condition. And they were like looking at the rough financial reports, and they say, okay, we don't think it's safe enough for us to get salary increase across the board. So let us think about it, maybe in a few months. So for me, that was the moment that was like, okay, this is something, a workplace that is, oh, I've never thought I would be this lucky to be able to work with these younger people who's like very bright, among the very skilled in the nation, and they really like want this to happen really like together. I mean, like I told them to like let's increase the salary, okay? And they said no, let's do it later. And I was like, okay, so I'll cut all your salary, including mine, 20% for now. And they said, okay. Apparently, Roosevelt, he said something like, women is like tea bags. You put them in a hot water, and then you know how strong they can be. Yeah. And I feel that that's very, very true for myself, as I witnessed that it's very true for a lot of women around me. But for myself, I never thought. I mean, like, come on, I'm Chinese Indonesian. Yeah, my friends are all business people, my high school friends, my junior high school friends, and I was like spending years and years going into social politics, being a journalist, and now I return to like sort of like my
You return to your roots of being in business.
years and years of denial, right? Years and years of denial, and thinking to myself that, no, I'm not a businesswoman, I'm not a business person. I cannot really think about money and la la la. But and then, yes, the situation required me to step up as someone who's like lead this organization, and then think about the sustainability. Also think about how the newsroom, how the organization will give safe space to everyone. Just on March 8th, days ago, we launched our our SOP, our guidelines for handling sexual abuse reports to make our workspace a better place. And we will also disseminate that information to all the workers that involved in Project Multatuli, because not just 14 people. We work with dozens of regional contributors like freelance journalists, freelance illustrators. So I step up from journalists who gets monthly salary, who like my I was a managing editor in the Jakarta Post, and I managed about maybe 100 people there. So it's not really my first time leading a team, but thinking more than that, thinking about money, opening sheets for money, thinking about opportunities to take, and meeting more people. Meeting
and
people,
marketing, right? And also marketing it, because people have to know about Project Multatuli, right?
That's why I'm really thankful for you for you inviting me to this podcast. Yeah, this is part of a marketing strategy, you can say.
I like talking to you is because I understand that for journalists, right, a lot of times they write about other people. They hardly get written about. They hardly get talked about.
It's hard for journalists, yes, to put ourselves up front, but also women, right? A lot of women underestimate themselves, right? So I try not to do that now. I try to just, I did this, I'm proud of this, and why not? Actually, I'm not really 100% really comfortable saying that, but getting there, because hey, it's part of it's an important part of changing the world, and we women have to change the world. There's no other way for us. We cannot be pro establishment. We have to be subversive in everything we do, right?
Yeah.
Even though you just you think that, okay, I'm not into social justice, I'm just opening a small business.
I'm not into politics.
I'm not into politics. But no, when you're a woman and you speak up and you want to carve a space to grow for yourself, you suddenly, without you knowing, become a subversive person when you speak up, because we face harassment, we face people, we have to deal with people who underestimate us, we have to deal with people who set the rules of the games that are not designed for us, who are someone's child, who are someone's grandchild, who are someone's wife, someone's mom, someone's daughter-in-law. Yeah. So the rules of the games in this world are made by men who don't understand our double burden, even not double, maybe triple, fourth, I don't know. There was this story about a regent in Indonesia, in West Java. There's a regent. He's like the top number one, like the head of the district or the region. A woman who had to resign because he said she had to take care of her ailing father. So that's really devastating for me to hear that. That's it. I think for women, we have to change the world. And if we want to change the world, we have to be proud of ourselves. We have to be really confident. We have to do it not alone but together. Like you cannot really be, being confident all by yourself. Like being proud alone on your own. But you have to also support other women and convince other women that they're they can do whatever they want. Actually, they can grow as far. They can fly as high as they want. Actually, if the world is fair to them, the world is not it's not fair to us though, right? So we have to change it, right? So yeah, so step one is to make yourself confident. If people say fake it until you make it, yeah, I'm doing that.
Well, we all have to start somewhere, right?
start from yourself.
Yeah. And even for you as an experienced journalist, award-winning journalist, you've done tremendous work. You've done work that matters, right? Even you feel that at some point you have to step out and try on a new role and do something and be a business owner now after years of being a journalist. So I think that is really courageous because it's not easy. Business is not easy. I guess, even being a journalist is not easy, not even a business. But in our own ways, I believe that we are slowly transforming and changing what we want to change by changing the conversations, right? Because if we don't change the conversations, nothing's going to change. If no one talks about sexual abuse, nothing's going to change because people will just sweep it under the carpet. Or if we don't talk about the uncomfortable stuff, nothing's going to change. So I think it takes more people, or at least more and more women and enlightened men to come out and talk about, or at least highlight or write about things that really matter and make that, small but possible change towards something that they want to see. Perhaps not in our lifetime. I don't know. A lot of things can be quite difficult, right? Not in our lifetime. But maybe the next generation, your daughter's generation, your granddaughter's generation. Yeah. So those are the things that I think is possible. And because we live in the digital world these days, and I feel that living in the digital world allows us to really go beyond borders. Like I couldn't be having this conversation with you if we didn't have the internet.
And maybe if you ask me again, so what do I learn about myself? I'm no longer that girl. Maybe not girl, 29. I'm no longer that 29-year-old woman who was an underachiever. And I think I grew up a lot in the past maybe 5 years. I grew up a lot and much faster from someone who's like kind of like, I don't want to achieve that. I just want to, let's be mediocre. It's enough for me. Don't shake others. Don't create attention on you and whatever. So yeah, the years required me, and I made that decision too. Yeah, to be someone who's more confident because I see the needs to make a fundamental change in the world. And my husband was like my biggest supporter. He was like, oh, okay, when you were an underachiever, I was always telling you that, why don't you want to do more, like win an award or something? It was like the conversation about 10 years ago, and I was like, not really. I just like being like a journalist like right now. And it's like, no, you should be more. I was like, why do you pressuring me? Why are you pressuring me? But now it's like, oh, okay. That's why he did it.
That's why he's pressuring you. That's why he's asked you to push yourself beyond.
Yeah, because he saw it that I got it in me. He believed in me. So now I believe in myself that I can do that. I'm no longer that underachiever young woman. I'm a confident
who wanted to travel to Budapest.
I would still love to travel to Budapest.
You're really pushing. You're really, really like testing, like how far can you go with this, right? Like the things that you write about, and even like all those things that is right now on Project Multatuli's website, and all the things that you're saying about the present establishment. So those are the things that I say very courageous of you and your team. And I really look forward to seeing more interesting things from Project Multatuli.
Thank you. It's scary, but we calculate all the risks though. So
yes, because you're Indonesian Chinese.
Wish us luck. uh, with us like yours. So thank you for appreciating what we do and for inviting me to this talk. And I think your podcast is what we need now, because I can feel that the world is changing every second, I think. But the power of women in the past few years, especially after the Me Too movement, through like the this global movement, and then spread all over the world, including to Indonesia, women speaking up is powerful. I think I can actually feel it. So yes, Womenpreneur Asia. I'm sure it's what we need this time, especially. I think it's this time is changing. I think I don't know. Can you feel it?
I probably can feel it more than because I do a lot of work with women entrepreneurs. I myself run a business, so I understand exactly where you're coming from. So that's the pleasure of actually talking to women who are just starting businesses, already in businesses for a number of years, is that I really can empathize and I can understand how that journey is like. So that's the reason why I share all these stories on Womenpreneur Asia, with the hope that someone listening to this episode, to this story, may get hope to try something on their own. Because sometimes, like you say, right, we need each other. But sometimes we may not be doing the same things. We may be doing different things. But in the different things that we do, it is a collective effort. And it is the collective wisdom, not just effort, but it's wisdom that is pushing things towards something that we want to see happen. And so that's why I thank you very much for sharing your very heartfelt story, very interesting journey from where you were to where you are now. And also, I really look forward to what's coming up for Project Multatuli. So final question, where can people find you online if they want to connect with you or even Project Multatuli?
Please visit projectmultatuli.org. It's project like in English, and then MULTATU. Okay, this is kind of hard. li.org, projectmultatuli.org. Yeah. Please visit us, and you can support us by, if you're a foreigner that doesn't understand Indonesian, if you want to donate us, we have PayPal. But if you understand Indonesian and want to be a member and get our newsletters that are all in Indonesian, I'm sorry, still in Indonesian only, you can become Kawan M. We call members Kawan M. Kawan means friends. Yeah. Become friends of M, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we'll definitely see you again, especially online.
What do you derive out of today's episode? Evi has a strong sense of justice, and she created a media organization to push for the change that she always yearned for. And it takes courage to speak, write, and publish news to enable the voiceless and marginalized to be heard. Definitely not an easy road. Do you have something that you want to be courageous about? It's 2022, so I hope you'll take the action and make it happen. Speaking of action, do me a favor, will you? Let me know how you like this podcast of mine by taking a simple and quick survey. You'll be helping me improve my season 5. It's completely anonymous. I don't ask for emails or names even. Just go to tinyurl.com/Asian podcast. That's tinyurl.com/Asian podcast, and you'll be helping me lots. So until then, take care, and I'll see you next Friday.